Blog Talk Radio.
And welcome
to Sports Palooza Radio.
That's right.
Are you ready for this?
Hey, yo, listen, it's going down just like this.
Like a breath of fresh air.
Who's ready for
Iannucci, and EJ, the Rainmaker.
We are now live in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, welcome to the premiere Sports Palooza radio show. I'm one of your hosts, Lisa Iannucci, and I'm here with EJ, the Rainmaker Garr.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Thanks for listening.
We're really excited that you guys tuned in to listen to us. Before we get started, though, I want to tell you a little bit about who we are and what you can expect from this brand new show. Well, it's like this. You have a favorite author or you have a favorite TV show, but it doesn't mean you just have one. There's always room in your life for more and something new and something different. That's what we are, something new and something different. We're new voices in sports. And Sports Palooza Radio, we're going to be here weekly, every Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, and we're going to have guest interviews, giveaways, picks of the week, and so much more. It's the only show where you'll find us not only talking about sports, but we're going to go into sports entertainment too. So just to give you an idea, this week we're going to be interviewing Ed Hearn in the New York Mets, and we'll talk about his inspiration off the field. And next week we'll talk fantasy football with TNA professional wrestler Austin Aries. Later this month we'll talk to one of the New York Giants, and next month we'll have an author who's going to talk to us about a controversial book he wrote about a boxing coach. So we're really covering a lot of different sports and a lot of different topics, and we'll switch it up every week. The great thing about this show is you're also going to have a chance to win gift baskets, autographs, and so much more. So make sure you follow us on Twitter, and what's that handle again?
And we're at Palooza Radio.
Palooza Radio on Twitter, so you can keep up with what's going on and how you can win prizes during our broadcast. So a little bit about me. I've been a writer for the past 25 years. I've conducted many, many interviews with athletes and celebrities, and I'm really excited to bring that to this show. And who is the Rainmaker? Rainmaker, who are you?
Oh, boy. Well, everybody knows me for my handicapping in sports. And everybody knows me, of course, when I was growing up playing soccer. So everything I've done in my life has been sports-related to some extent. So it's fun. Now everybody knows me as EJ the Rainmaker on Twitter as well. And I'm always posting about plays I have and stuff that I do. I have my own radio show, too, on Blog Talk Radio, EJ Rainmaker Sports, where I cover Italian football pretty much weekly. And most people know me for my Italian football. It's something I've been following, which most people in America call soccer. That's what I do. I have fun with sports. So this is going to be a fun show, Lisa. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I definitely have been one of those people that have to remember to call it Italian football and not soccer. But I've known the Rainmaker for more than a decade, and his amount of sports is insane, his sports knowledge. And he doesn't just read about it. I've actually sat and watched him study it, play by play, number by number. And he does these picks, and he's often pretty right about who's going to win each week. So later on in the show, we're going to put him to the test and ask him who his picks are for this week on some of the games, and next week we'll check back and see how he did. So it should be a lot of fun.
All right, one more very important thing we need to add here. We have a very special sponsor this month. If you're serious about sports and you love to travel, you should really check out Sports Travel and Tours at sportstravelandtours.com. They're on Twitter at STAT. They put together some of the best sports and travel tour packages. Just tremendous amount of things that they get out there. Coming up in 2014, they're going to have a great getaway to Cooperstown, New York, home of the Baseball Hall of Fame. Obviously, it's a very special anniversary for the Hall of Fame this year, and it's a great time to be part of the celebration. So we definitely want to thank them for sponsoring the show, and make sure you check out them. And I always throw out a special thanks to Josh Vitello over at Ghost JB Productions. He produces all our music and entry themes, and he's taking the time out of his busy schedule to come up with all these little things for us. So you can find Josh at Production Ghost at Twitter as well. Thanks, Josh, man. Really want to thank you for all the stuff that you do for us. So let's get to what's going to happen here. We're going to talk about
Well, before you do that, it's interesting because you mentioned Cooperstown. When I was a little girl, the first trip that we ever took as a family was to Cooperstown Hall of Fame. And it was a lot of fun back then, and it's a lot of fun now. And I haven't really had a chance to do a lot of sports trips, but I've always had this dream trip of going to see Lambeau Field because I'm a Chiefs head. And I'm dying to see a Packers game live in their hometown. So it's exciting to know that there's a place like this that can put tours like this together. Have you ever done any tours, any special sports trips?
I've done a sports cruise. One of my, back in 2000, I went on a sports cruise through Norwegian where they had, it was called Sports Afloat, and they had a whole bunch of special, Charles Haley and whole bunch of guys you can just go up to and meet, and they would sign stuff for you. And that was a blast. So hopefully up the road, maybe we can get our sponsor to maybe give us some kind of promotion giveaway where we can actually contribute to their website, and you can come listen to the show, and we'll see if we can talk to them about maybe having something special on the show.
Well, we're definitely going to have them come on in a few weeks just to talk about exactly what they do and what these trips are all about and what they have coming up for this Cooperstown celebration. So it should be exciting. But speaking about the Packers, that kind of leads us into what we want to talk about this Sunday. We have a big game ahead of us. And, it's scary to know that we've been playing these last few weeks without our main man, Aaron. And as a fan, it's hard to watch, but I was really happy that they won this past week. But do you really think that, I'm talking to a Giants fan, do you think that they're going to pull this game off? It's an important one.
It is an important one. I mean, the game. It's at 4:00 in the afternoon on Sunday, and without Aaron Rodgers on that field, obviously Matt Flynn's going to try to figure a way to do something here. But the Cowboys coming off an actual, beat down last week, so of course you have a chance to beat them. I mean, even though the game's in Dallas, I don't think it's going to be a close game. The line setters, it's a touchdown spread. We'll see. I think you guys can at least hang out. We'll see what happens. And
what about the fact, though, that the Giants, they're done.
Yeah, we're done.
They're done.
Season's over.
So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it was a hard season. We've had a lot of guys out, and we had to really pick ourselves up each week. So hopefully they'll turn it around and know that they're more of a team than they think they are, even though their star quarterback isn't there.
Yeah,
so.
We'll see if that tie comes into a play too, because you're 6-6-1, the Cowboys are 6-7, so that could be, or 7-6, sorry. That could be a big determination as to what happens. That tie really, it's better than a loss. We'll see what happens, Lisa. Good luck with your Packers this week.
Thank you. There's a lot of really important games going on in other sports this weekend, too. Tell me a few of the ones that are really important for this weekend.
Well, obviously tonight, Thursday, we have the San Diego Chargers and Denver Broncos playing, and everyone obviously is all over Denver, and they're favored to win big. You're talking double-digit line here and 10 points. So Vegas is coming out and saying San Diego's got no shot. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, because I personally think San Diego does have a shot to at least hang out with this team. The road team is 5-0-1 the last 6 games. See, all the last 6 times these two have met, every game has been close. I mean, Denver barely covered that first meeting when they were favored by 7. They won by 8. But San Diego loves coming here. Everyone. I don't know if anyone knows how San Diego really. The last 9 games in Denver, they're 5-0-4 coming here. So I like San Diego to cover that 10-point spread tonight. We know Army Navy is going to be happening this weekend. That's obviously a big game, but we're predicting snow out here in New York and New Jersey. So I don't know how that's going to go. But the line setters are saying Navy's going to walk away with this. But, Navy's had 22 days off between their last game. That's a long time. 3 weeks is a long time to not play a football game. Obviously, it affects the bowl games, too, and Army's had 2 weeks off as well. I still kind of like this over 54. For some people who doesn't know what that means, that's I think both teams will combine for the 54 points, and a lot of people think, well, the weather's coming, why would you take the over? Well, we saw what happened in Philadelphia. That game looked like a stone-cold under, and then what do you know, next thing you know, there's 54 points because they got used to playing in the snow. It affects the 4th down situation and the kicking game. I think some points are going to end up coming in that Navy game. The total is at 54. I think they'll both combine for 54 points. And
54 points in snow?
54 points in snow. Hey, the Philly did it. It was 34-20. They found 54 points in the snow. The snow favors the offense. I know a lot of people out there think that, when it's snowing and the weather's harsh, that how they're going to score and what they're going to do. It's that fourth down situation that really involves everything. If it's 4th and 3 from the 25-yard line, you can't kick a field goal because you're not kicking a 42-yard field goal in the snow. It's not going to happen. So you're going to be going for it, and you're going to convert, and you're going to talk about, points coming, and then the 2-point conversions that may come because you can't kick the ball in this weather. So I like the 54 points. It's an Army-Navy game, and if you look back in any Army-Navy games, usually they're low-scoring games, but the way these two played to end the season, it was just 52 and 58 and 49. So many points scored. So I think these two actually might have a field day and have some fun with each other this year. So I actually like that over to happen. And obviously, everyone's going to be looking to that championship game in January with Florida State and Auburn. Florida State's your college.
Oh, that's it. Well, I didn't complete my schooling there, but I did go there for a little while, and I have to tell you, it's an amazing experience. I mean, as academically, you're there for your studies, but the game, and you go there, and the energy and the excitement that the team and the whole town just has during these games is definitely contagious. So I left there, a short time as I was there, I left there a Seminole fan, and I think I will always be a Seminole fan because of that. So I'm really hoping that they pull this game out this weekend.
Yeah, and they should, not this weekend, it's in January.
Oh,
but,
sorry.
They're favored by 8.5 points. They're favored by 9. Obviously everybody thinks Florida State's going to find a way to win this game. Auburn defeating Alabama was obviously a surprise for a lot of people, but this Auburn offense is ridiculous. This is another game that the total opened at 63, now it's up to 66 because everybody in the country is saying that they're going to score points. I do agree. I don't know how. The Florida State defense has obviously been incredible. I mean, they were favored by 30 last week versus Duke, and they made Duke look like a little high school team. So, and Duke's a pretty good team. I mean, that was a championship game. So that's about really it for football on the football side of things.
Well, we have coming up, switching gears, we're going to talk baseball for a little while. And coming up in just a few moments, we have Ed Hearn, who's going to be calling in to talk to us really about his life on and off the field. And I'm really excited about this because, first of all, being our first guest, it's awesome to listen to his story and have the fans hear what he's been through. And I have to admit, not only am I a cheesehead, but I'm a Mets fan, and I know I get teased for, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, Mr. Yankee fan.
Yeah.
And I get teased a lot for admitting that, obviously, as you can hear. but I have awesome memories when I was growing up of being a Mets fan, and I'll never, ever forget the 86 World Series. And I went to college in New York City after I left Florida State. I ended up in New York City, and I would work during the day and go to school at night. And during the whole playoffs and World Series, I'd listen to the game on my headset. And I ended up watching the final out on this little television in Grand Central Station that everyone was crowded around. And it's a moment that just will stay with me for the rest of my life, because when we won, the Grand Central Station was just echoing. I mean, the screams were just unbelievable. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and the fact that they were playing Boston sure didn't hurt either.
Yes, Yankee fan like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, New York fans in general like that.
Right, exactly. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, I've been into sports my whole life and grew up watching every single Mets game and would know the players' names and numbers and, their stats and all that. So that was a really awesome part of my life. And our guest, Ed Hearn, was a part of that team. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about him, and we're expecting him to call in just a couple of minutes. In May 1986, after 8.5 years when he was in the minor leagues, he finally became a member of, Major League Baseball, and, he became a member of the 1986 World Champion New York Mets. He had a great rookie season. He was traded the year after to the Kansas City Royals, and he was traded for a young pitcher, and his name should sound very familiar. He was traded for David Cohn. Shortly into that season, a shoulder injury got to him, and it actually required major reconstructive surgery. And he went back and forth after all of his surgery was taken care of between the major and the minor leagues, trying to get back into the game, but unfortunately things didn't work out. And just 3 short months after he began a career in the business world, when he left baseball, he went from being this big, strong professional athlete to a man who was too weak to get out of bed without assistance. And it's unbelievable. And he's going to tell us a little bit about how that came about and what happened to him. But I can tell you that he had ended up with 3 kidney transplants. He was on a breathing machine. I mean, I can't imagine what he had gone through back then. But he's come back, and that's what his story is all about. And I had a chance to meet him about a year or so ago, actually, and we were at an autograph session at a local venue. And he was such an inspiration because people were coming up to him for autographs and to get copies of his book, but they were also telling him stories about their own kids who had been through things and have his story inspired them, and how much better their kids were doing or how much better they were doing, all because they were Mets fans and they knew his story, and it just inspired them. And I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's tough when you see kids affected by stuff like that. And that really was what led him to start the whole Bottom of the Ninth Foundation that he runs out of Kansas City right now. Tremendous foundation. I'm sure Ed's going to want to talk about it when he gets here.
Great. So we're waiting to hear from him. But, in the meantime, it's awesome. Later on in the show, we have this 5, we're going to be talking about 5 great stories that happened that you might not know about, or 5 really things that are going on in the world that maybe you didn't hear about, and we're here to tell you about them. And maybe while we're waiting for Ed, we could talk about one of these stories that really is the same. It's very inspirational. And, EJ, why don't you tell us about that?
I'm going to start off with the Christopher Kazak story. This kid, he goes to Long Island, and he goes to the mall, and he sees Santa Claus. But I can imagine what's going through this poor kid's head as he walks up to see Santa and all the things he wants to say to him. And all he says to Santa is, Santa, I'd like an Xbox and a prosthetic arm. And I'm kind of getting choked up here because it's a story. It's tough to listen to. Kids, all kids want to do is be normal. And, I feel bad for him. This guy, Robert Jackson, comes out. He's a friend of the family. He starts a fund to raise $25,000 before Christmas to help make his kid's wish come true. And today at 11 a.m. they posted that they hit that goal. And now now they're going to try to extend the fundraiser to try and hit $50,000. You can see a lot more about that. I posted on my Facebook page, and Fox News and GoFundMe.com actually has a thing going on right now. If you look at GoFundMe.com/5PH7WK, you can find out the whole story about what's happening there. And
that's what Christmas is all about. I mean, that's what this whole holiday should really be about.
Yeah, giving back. I mean, if you're not giving, stories like this don't wrench your heart, then you have to have your heart checked. So.
Absolutely.
But looks like we have Ed on now. So, Ed, thanks for being here. We really appreciate you being on the air with us today. How you doing, man?
Man, we're doing well out here. Only just need to thaw out a bit.
Yeah, weather.
Oh yeah, the weather. It's just I would prefer spring. Thank you very much.
No doubt. It's just way too cold this early in the year. Yeah. I was down in Florida for.
It's way too cold any time of the year.
Yeah,
I can't take cold weather at all. So
yeah, it could be worse. We could be in Bismarck, North Dakota, where it's minus 30 degrees. So let's at least be happy about that.
Well, okay, good deal, man. Very good.
Right?
That's right. Well, now you're talking my language, perspective.
Right.
Absolutely. But thank you. First of all, I'm going to thank you personally because, as I mentioned, you and I had a chance to sit and talk for a little while at that autograph signing session, and you were amazing. And the stories and the things that I watched. I mean, do you feel like an inspiration? I mean, do these people get to you when they come up and they tell you their stories?
Yes, they do. I don't know. Lisa, it's almost become like a drug to me. it helps me survive. It been through a lot, and it really just it makes my all that I've been through. It just really it helps me when I'm able to make a difference in somebody else's life. It helps put my life in perspective, and it gives reason. It gives reason to the things that I lost or thought I lost, or just like you said earlier. EJ said, it's cold compared to what, 30 below? Not really.
Yeah.
Right. I guess it's the way you look at it. I was always taught to believe that no matter how bad you have it, somebody else has it worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
yep.
Tell the listeners a little bit about what exactly led to your illness after you left the field.
I don't know. I was just, I had a shoulder injury after I was traded here to Kansas City. I'm known as the worst trade in Royals history out here. Well, I have to hold on to that to fight for it. There's been some other tough ones. But, of course, obviously, no one, including myself, can predict the future of an injury. So it's not like I came out here and was a flop. But I think I'm also known as one of the best trades in Mets history, right? Of course, I got David Cohn out there for you guys.
Right.
But, I was hurt 2 weeks in the season, and then battled to come back after major reconstructive surgery. And, it was real close and didn't get there. But there was a purpose, there was a plan, I believe, Lisa, for me to be doing something besides me being a Major League Baseball player. And within 6 to 8 months after being missing spring training for the first time in 13 years, I was diagnosed with 3 pretty serious health problems and was on dialysis and had my first kidney transplant, the first of 3. Within a year after being out of the game. And you know what caused all that? I don't know. Someday maybe I'll find out. Probably not here on Earth, but I at that point in life, you can either life can either grind you down or it can shine you up, and it can be a tumbler. Life can be a real tumbler. And, you asked, do I feel like an inspiration? Oh, my gosh. Sometimes I feel like a turd in a tumbler.
No. I mean, just look at what you've
but other
done.
Times, but most of the time, if I didn't have the opportunity to, like this weekend, I'm not real. We're going through a lot with our son right now, our only child who was diagnosed with stage 3 non-Hodgkin lymphoma 2 years ago, and we're just so beat up right now. And I'm coming to New York for an autograph show this weekend, and I really don't feel like going, but I arranged about a couple months ago. I arranged for a young man to be with me. I called Molly, and head of MBA, MAB, celebrity autographs and stuff, and I said, hey, listen, there's a young man that I met at Cooperstown, New York, when he was 9 years old. He's 19 today, and back then he had already had a liver transplant. Today he's had 3 liver transplants, and he just finished, just a month ago, 2 years of chemo for leukemia. And I said, this kid, I've been with this kid, and I met him, and then about 2010, they reconnected with me, and for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been to the kid's house. He went out and played catch with me in the front yard, and when we went back inside, it was. I have pictures of this out there, us playing catch, and when we went in, it was all he could do to just lay down on the couch. But he wanted to play catch with me. And you know what? Jack's going to be with me this weekend. I made up a poster of the event, and I put his picture over, I don't know, one of our guys' from the '86 Mets, and I put his picture like a baseball card, because they're all baseball cards on this flyer, and I put his picture over somebody and a big star, and I posted it on Facebook. You and all your listeners can go to my Facebook page, just Ed Hearn, and scroll down through my timeline, and you'll see this flyer I made. And, you know, even though I'm heavy with the challenges we're facing, my wife is heavy. They're at the doctors right now, my son Cody and my wife, and trying to get him some help. But you know what? This weekend, even though I don't really want to go, I am so looking forward to having Jack with me for 6-8 hours around guys that he's got one of them cutout posters of Mike Piazza in his room. And I got a picture with him and me. I'm boxing with Mike Piazza, and he's sitting there cracking up.
That's awesome. That is amazing. And you know, I'm sorry that you're going through another challenge too personally, but you know, you've taken everything that you've been through, and you wrote an amazing book, and it's called Conquering Life's Curves. And for our listeners, we're actually going to give you a chance to win an autographed copy of the book. And all you have to do is go to Palooza Radio on Twitter and follow us and tweet to us, and we'll put you in for a chance to win an autographed copy of Ed's book. But tell me, you know, why did you decide to write the book, and what did you hope that people would get out of it, you know, after reading it?
Yeah, that's a great question, Lisa. I had begun to have the opportunity to speak to organizations and groups back in 1994, and I've been doing that for 19 years. And it's just, that's been my outlet. You know, I tell people when I have the chance to do that, it's like, you know, I think I'm about 30 pills a day right now. But when I get a chance to do that, that's like my best medicine. But when I first started, I got involved with the National Speaker Association just to kind of, you know, so I wasn't just a dumb jock in front of, you know, Fortune 100 company. And, you know, just trying to learn the game, or not the game, but just learn how to do it right, you know. And some of the guys there, it was Zig Ziglar, I forget, there was four other guys there, and they said, "What's, you know, you got a book? What's the name of it?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't have a book. I'm just Ed, man. I'm not really, you guys are misunderstanding this. I'm not a big name guy. I only got 2 letters in my name, you know. Sorry to disappoint you, but," and they're like, "Man, with that story, you're crazy. You got to let people, you know." And then they said, what about your kid?" And he was only a baby. I mean, you know, someday your boy's gonna want to look back and maybe show his kids and their kids the journey you've been on, and that got me thinking. You know what? I may not be here when Coney's a teenager, and because I had radical health issues, and I thought, you know, this will be a way for me to be there even if I don't make it over the next 16, 17 years. Because, you know, kids need some good influence in their lives, especially at the teenage years, and, you know, as they're transitioning from young people into, you know, young adults. And that's the reason I wrote the book, was in great part for Cody.
Wow. That is awesome. And, you know, especially, I mean, I want to ask you, though, too, because there's a lot of athletes today, too, who they're really not good role models for some of the kids today. I mean, they're not. It's
really
sad. Some of these stories that you see.
Really, you haven't heard, huh?
No. I'm coming to New York. I'll be with a lot of them this weekend.
Oh, yeah. But what? You know, and it's crazy because you hear about all these stories, and I have teens, and they follow athletes who are not the best role models to follow. I mean, it's great that your son has you and the book and the story and what you've gone through to, you know, look at and say, this is really how I should be, you know. And now you kind of also taken that, not only did you do the book, but you also started a foundation. So tell us a little bit about the foundation and what its purpose is.
Yeah, you bet. Well, Lisa, before I tell you about that, I want to tell you that when I met you, you were doing a project called Celebrity Do-Gooders, and there's too many, the media. It's about they'd rather read, have people want to read, but it's just like athletes, are not maybe known to be the best influencers and role models. People in the media, you're in the minority, and have put in front of people the stories of people that do think differently. And I just want to tell you that I appreciated that, and that's the reason I gravitated to spend some time with you. But the nonprofit I started, pardon me?
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, it's so deserving, and I just wish that more media, and I hope you guys go off the charts by reaching people, because I know you're going to draw out the best of people, and the kind of people that young people especially, and really us older folks, we need to be mentored and shown how it's done as well, and encouraged and inspired. So it's not just kids. People think it's just kids, but I know I need to see somebody that encourages me to keep going.
Right.
And one of the things that keeps me going today is the nonprofit I started back in '98 called The Bottom of the Ninth, where character counts. And basically that was started when a gentleman here in Kansas City recognized some of the work that I was doing, and he wanted to be able to fund some of that work. And I didn't have a nonprofit, and I had to put one together so he could fund it. And as it turned out, it didn't work out that way. But nonetheless, we've made quite a bit of difference in some lives. And I tell people, because not everybody understands what the bottom of the ninth is. I mean, most people do, I guess, but because baseball has always been an intricate part of the fabric of America. So in the bottom of the ninth, that doesn't happen unless the home team, the good guys, are tied or behind. And in America today, I think the home team, the good guys, I think we've slid into a point where, if we don't turn around some major components of the makeup of this country, number one, the values and the character and the moral integrity of this country, the game's going to be over. And I think we're not the leader of, we're not the champions of the world that we used to be. We're still good, but we're not the champions. There's other, people could have a good conversation about, China's doing this, and Brazil and India's doing that, and but it used to be undeniable. The United States of America was the leader of the free world. Today, I don't know. I think it's the bottom of the ninth, and so that's kind of the backdrop to what we try to do is try to mentor and encourage, inspire the character development of mostly out here in the Midwest, but I'll go where we can afford to go.
So you work with kids. I mean, is there a particular age group that you work with?
Well, it's not age group. It's more divided. It's divided by four. It's like a baseball field. There's four project areas. First base is youth with character, and that, of course, is every character type of organization or group that you can think of, and probably what you were thinking of initially. But I think there's other places where people are very open to other ways that we can reach people. Second base is called the Character to Conquer project area, and that's for chronically ill, terminally ill patients, their families, and those who care for them. When you're sick, or when you got a family member that's sick or challenged, all of a sudden, people, it's kind of like in school they say no prayer allowed unless in case of tornado or earthquake or that sort of thing. Well, when you're sick and you're facing tough stuff, people are open to the foundations of things. They reach for the positive. And
Right.
I think that's a great place, a great area to be able to share and make a difference in people's lives. Third base is a project area called The Character of the Great Outdoors, and that just stems from I grew up on the southeast coast of Florida, and when I moved to Kansas, there was no fish, so I started going out in the woods, chasing animals. And I don't know. There's some beautiful country there. People think New York is nothing but tall buildings, but you go an hour outside of New York north and northwest, and if you go east, you're out in the ocean. And I believe that we believe that if you can get people disconnected from this digital world and this fast pace that we live in, and just chill out, and all of a sudden go, wow, this is, and you see what I believe God created for us to enjoy and appreciate. And there, I think it's just like the outdoors is like this filter that filters out the ugliness of life, and you can really connect with the good. And then home plate is the character of faith, and that's just my faith is a very important part of my life, and I don't shove that on anybody, but I believe that that's an important part of my life, and if there's opportunities to be able to share that with people, we do it through the home plate project area, character of faith.
Yeah, I love how so I was given the thorn in the flesh, and 3 times I begged God to make me well again, and each time he said no, but I am with you, and that is all you need. That obviously closely resembles Apostle Paul, and that, wow, I'm Christian, I'm Italian. That has been something that gets me right there. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's that's part of the home plate project area. It's just a representation, and that's a key verse of Second Corinthians, where Paul's talking about the affliction, the challenges, and he came to understand, man, and I see myself so much in the same situation. I mean, I'd be lying if I told you I haven't said, well, this is nuts. Why has all this happened? But I don't hear from God. Paul, Paul had a better connection than I do, I guess. But the reality is, what we've been talking about is it's not being the superstar head baseball player or whatever, not showing off my own abilities, as Paul says, but rather in my weakness and the challenges I faced. There people can see where your true power comes from.
Yeah, unbelievable. If you're just joining us, we're talking to Ed Hearn, and he has a book called Conquering Life's Curves. And if you haven't had a chance to look at his website or get the book, my suggestion is go check it out at edhearn.com, or win a copy through us by following us at Palooza Radio on Twitter, and send a tweet to us. And we're talking to Ed, and Ed, again, I could go on and on about how inspirational you are, and I'm just so happy that day I got to sit next to you and to talk to you and to watch what I watched, because there were other celebrities on that stage, other athletes that day, who really haven't done in my opinion, what you've done, and really could be inspired by you, if you ask me. So what I want to do, though, too, is I want to actually turn over. We have to talk baseball with you.
A little bit, man.
Just a little bit of baseball with you, Jim.
You bet.
Well, Ed, I just want to take over here. I want to ask you what it was like when obviously when you left Philly. Now, the Mets pick you up and they send you to Lynchburg and you win the title, and then you win the title and they send you to Jackson and you go to Double-A and you win the title, and then they send you to Tidewater and Triple-A and you win the title, and then you go to the '86 Mets and you win the title again, man. What's it like having 4 titles in 4 different leagues in 4 different years? Because you're the only one who can even speak about this happening to them, man.
Well, I don't know about the Mets. They get enough criticism these days, it seems like. But, I think they made a big mistake trading me, because, when you got a guy that's on a roll, you don't send him away. But the Royals wanted to get back on roll, too. So, I don't know. I just feel blessed to be a part of those 4 straight years with the Mets coming up through the minor league system. And, we had the guys that I'll be in New York with this weekend are guys that I came up through the minor leagues with the Mets, with Dwight Gooden and Lenny Dykstra. guys like that, and it's always fun when you're winning. That's for sure. Winning is great, but it makes you appreciate the tough times as well. Because we all have tough times, and the Mets have experienced a lot of challenging times since then. And but in the moment of victory, and particularly the victory in New York City in '86. It's almost undescribable, especially because it was the Mets. If it was the Yankees, okay, good job, way to go. Yeah, but it was the Mets, and I think that makes it even more special than because people were like, there's so many wonderful Mets fans, and they were starving. And we still they were hungry, and and I don't think I realized the impact that having a winning team or season can have on a city. And really, New York City and surrounding areas are quite divisive between their two teams. So it's almost like two different cities when it comes to sports. In baseball, people wouldn't get caught dead in black being Yankees. And there's Yankee fans, of course, they're going to laugh at the Mets fans. Oh, you bunch of losers and all that. But it's divisive. But I never realized how much impact a sports team can have on people. Just people bouncing around out there on Long Island every day because of we're winning. They get up in just a different attitude, and that really surprised me of how much impact a team we had on the Mets fans, the Mets city of New York. Yeah,
that parade must have been crazy. I also want to ask you about, man, with the Gary Carter situation. Obviously now he's not with us anymore. But did you stay close? Did you stay close to Gary after or during while you guys were playing? Obviously you backed him up and all of it. Were you close to Gary, and were you kind of hit when we lost him?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just give you a couple examples. In our home, there hangs 3 jerseys. One is Johnny Bench's, and it's signed by Johnny. One's Gary Carter's, it's signed by Gary, and the other is one of mine from the Mets. And there's a little plaque on each one of those jerseys, or the big frames. And under Johnny Bench's, it says Daddy's Hero. And under Gary's, it says Daddy's Mentor. And then on mine, it says Daddy's. And,
nice.
Besides the fact, the reason it's in those words is because Cody, our only son, our only child, is named after Gary Carter, Cody Carter Hearn.
Oh,
wow. And when we lost Gary, I was on my way back from Rochester, Minnesota, dealing with some of my own health issues that day. And our son and my wife were at Children's Mercy Hospital in Kansas City. He was taking, I think, his 4th round of chemotherapy in the middle of, about 6 days of being hospitalized with harsh chemo. And I got a call from a reporter from New York that Gary had passed. And, that was hard. And the reporter didn't have to tell people that I kind of got a little emotional, but he did. And in the article he wrote, but it was kind of it's emotional to lose a man like Gary, and it was kind of even more difficult because of what we were dealing with in our own lives was a similar disease.
Right. Yeah, that's tough stuff. Gary Garr will certainly be missed. He was an inspiration as well. I'm surprised. I wonder when David Johnson decided to go with you, was that one of the greatest choices of your life? Was that a great choice for him, or what, to put you and Gary together? And look what it turned into.
Yeah, well, ironically, and another fun story with Gary was, he went down with a thumb injury in August, and of course it wasn't like. We were leading the division by 20 games of the Cardinals or something, so it wasn't like a hoping, and he was going to be back in a couple of weeks, but he went on the disabled list for 14 days, and he had torn some ligaments in his thumb. But the next day, the Post, the Daily, every paper in New York was headlines: worst thing that can happen to the Mets, Gary Carter goes down. Okay. And then we went on. We were like 11-2 during those 2 weeks, and inside the clubhouse, Gary would be getting treatment for his thumb, and invariably guys were stopping by, going, "Hey, kid." Of course, we called him Kid, and so most of the baseball world. "Hey, kid, don't I think as we got through that 2-week period, he was talking." Guys would say, "Hey, kid, don't you think you need to be icing that for another couple of weeks or something?" Or because we were just rolling through, through those games with the worst thing that could happen to the Mets. Carter goes down, and we go on like 11-2 run, and so they were busting his chops, and Gary himself actually, after the season was over and postseason awards were given out, he was high on the list. I mean, second or third that year at National League MVP, and he actually was quoted as saying that the 2 weeks that he was out and the way the team did when he wasn't, in there, and the job that myself and John Gibbons did in filling in for him was probably the reason he didn't win MVP that year.
That's amazing to think. Wow.
And that's probably how I ended up in Kansas City. I mean, the Royals were looking for a catcher to replace the aging Jim Sundberg, and they had a young pitching staff here that had just won the '85 World Series, but those guys were, 20 and 21 years old, and they saw they wanted a catcher that could hit and that could be with that pitching staff for, several years, many years as a tandem, a battery that would not have to be changed, sometime soon in the future, and they were looking for a catcher, and they chose me out of all the guys in the game, and I came here, and unfortunately, just 2 weeks of the season, the shoulder went south, and and the rest is history.
Yeah, that must have been tough, man, because I mean, the Royals were looking to you to be their go-to guy. You're going to be our catcher. That must have really not a question, man.
Yeah, it's just, but hey, that's the game, that's life. Nobody can predict the future, and you do the best that you can with what you have, and you make the best choices you can, and that's what the Royals did. And I don't, I think that, the folks in New York saw for a brief time what Ed Hearn was about, and I may never have been Gary Carter or Johnny Bench, but I don't think that the Royals needed that at the time. And who knows? I might have been. I mean, who was George Brett? Look at George Brett here in Kansas City. That guy was hitting 190, and of the three Brett brothers, he was the one that Dad said he'll never amount to anything. And now he's a Hall of Famer. So you never know how guys are going to turn out. But, so it could have been, who knows what would have happened. But all we know is what did happen, and then we have to make the best of what does the cards that are dealt to us.
Yeah, obviously the Royals haven't done much since 1987, any time after. So, but you still live out there, right?
We do. I married a girl from the South Shore of Long Island in Lindenhurst, and she came out here with me after I came to Kansas City, and she turned into Dorothy, and I've never been able to get her out of here. And Kansas City's a great.
How's Toto doing, man?
Huh?
How's Toto doing?
Toto, yeah, he's running around out here in the backyard down there by the lake. So, yeah, he comes back with spurs. Kansas is not, perfect, but, it is a real nice place to raise a family. The Midwestern, reputation is true, and but I really miss the ocean, and I grew up on the ocean in Florida, and Trish grew up on the ocean there on the South Shore, and but ultimately, really, I think we got slammed with the health issue so fast after the battling to come back that we really didn't have much of a choice to go like, well, where do we want to go live? It was just it was from one fire to the next, and we found good health care here. We had a doctor my wife, who was a nurse, really thought was somebody who was, she didn't want to take me somewhere else, and she thought we could get the best health care here as well because of this relationship with a doctor here that was my chief doctor. And, it just, things kept going, and this is definitely a nice place to be. It's not like, the most picturesque of the world, but it's not bad. I'm looking out my window, and, I'm sitting here on my brand new plush executive chair, and look out my window, and I've got a lake and some elevation here, and just, people would die. This view out my window right now, in New York would be, $1 million, $2 million lot. So,
are you sure that chair is that same chair that you posted to me on Facebook? Really, where are you sitting right now, man?
Lisa, are you doubting me? Are you doubting me? Here you said all these nice things about me, and you're doubting. I sent you a picture. What more can I send you? Do I have to fly you out here and sit you in my chair?
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Ed posted a great picture about his office, and we've been dying ever since. That's probably one of the funniest things I've seen, Ed.
Yeah, it was a picture of a chair, but it was flushable if you had no dress. So,
well, Lisa, if you can't say it, I can. It was a toilet.
Yeah,
all right, I'll fess up. All right, I can't. You know me, I'm honest Ed, right? I can't lie to you. Here's the story behind that. My wife, besides being a great nurse, she's a great handyman. I'm not allowed to do anything. Well, the bathroom in here in my office room here at the house started leaking from the bottom or something, and then she decided she wanted to tile it. She's quite the tiler, and she does all these things. So I come into my office one morning, and I see the toilet sitting here in it wasn't where it's positioned in that picture, but I thought, well, this is going to make a nice picture here. So, yeah, so I moved that over there, and I thought somebody would get a kick out of it. And you guys probably saw some of the comments I got from people like, that's great for multitasking. Well, you can get a lot off your mind in that chair.
You can even
it was hilarious.
On that note, and you've been an awesome interview. And again, I just want to let you guys know his book is called Conquering Life's Curves, and you can win an autographed copy by going to Palooza Radio on Twitter and following us. You could also go to Ed Hearn's website, edhearn.com, and order it directly from Ed. Christmas is coming up, guys, and really it's a wonderful gift, to give to anybody, baseball fan or just somebody who loves a great story. So
yeah, even if you're not going through something or not, anybody who's been through anything, and obviously if you're old enough, we've all been through our share of hardships. And Ed's story is tremendous, and Ed, I personally want to wish you guys good luck with Cody and your wife, and I hope everything's okay there. That stuff is just, you've been through enough, and now you have to go through more. Man, I really hope that everything's okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jay. I appreciate it, and I hope I want to see you guys. I want this to be your worst show. I want you to go from here and just blow people away, because I really am not just blowing wind up your skirt. You neither, EJ. Your skirt neither.
Oh, I thought you knew I had a skirt on. I'm sorry. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I have those powers, but I want you guys to just have a fabulous run with this program. And I know this is your first. I love being a woman's first, Lisa. Or I used to, I should say. Or no, never mind. That's not me. But I want you guys to. With EJ there, I think you've got a great partner, Lisa, and I think not only does he have a great perspective on life, he's got. I like having fun. You got to have fun in life. I think that's a big part of things. I do want to add, if you won't mind, that people can go to my website. Of course, there's edhearn.com, and that's about the speaking that I've done. But the bottom of the 9th, bottomoftheninth.org with a 9. That's a 9 instead of spelled out. Bottomoftheninth.org. Go to my Facebook. Go to Ed Hearn, and it's one of my pages, Bottom of the Ninth. There's some wonderful pictures. One of the things I try to do there is let people see. I'm a visual guy, and just see the bottom of the ninth in action and the people we're with. And, you can see my buddy Jack on there and so many of the other people that we've been able to impact. And your folks, I hope your folks will come out and see us at the autograph show, and I think it's over the Meadowlands this weekend. And, I tell everybody, it's my saying, keep swinging for the fences regardless of life's curves. Because curves, everybody's scared to death, and a lot of people don't get to play baseball because they can't hit the curve. But it's not about always hitting; it's about getting back in the batter's box and keep swinging.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ed, for being here. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Thanks, sweetheart. Keep swinging. Call me anytime.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, Ed. Take care,
buddy.
man.
All right, that was awesome. So again, guys, you heard how you could reach us to win a copy of the book at Palooza Radio, and all the different ways that you could reach out to Ed. Don't hesitate. As you could see, he's very personable, and that was a ton of fun. We have a few minutes left, so I'm actually going to jump to. We said we were going to put you on the spot for your picks on some of these games, so let's just jump into which games and who you think's going to win, and we'll test to see how you did next week.
Yeah, I already kind of discussed it. I mean, there's people out there who do like to bet on sports, which is to some people still illegal, but
or even just for a brew with your friends.
Just say if you want to sit at the bar and say, you know what, the Denver Broncos are favored by 10. I think the Chargers will keep it within 10 points. Bet them for a beer, and hopefully you'll win, because I think the Chargers are not going to lose by more than 10 points. So, what else? That Army-Navy game, even though it's snowing and all that, just wait for someone to say to you, how are they going to score points in all this terrible weather, if it's terrible weather? If it's not terrible weather, there's certainly going to be more than 54 points scored between the both of them. So those would be my two picks if you're going to sit at the bar and bet some peanuts over the bar with a couple of buddies. Take San Diego to cover the 10 points. And take the over in the Army-Navy game at over 54 points, because they're going to score all day over there. That'll be about it for me.
And for those of you who like sports entertainment, there's a big event coming up this weekend with the WWE. It's their Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, also known as the TLC, coming up, their pay-per-view this Sunday. And we have some great matches that'll be in that event, including CM Punk, who's going up against all of the Shield. That's a handicap match. Daniel Bryan versus all of the Wyatt family. That's another handicap match. Then you got the Divas, which is AJ Lee versus Natalya for the Divas title, and John Cena versus Randy Orton to unify the World Heavyweight and the WWE Championship. And, like I said, in this show, we're going to talk sports entertainment and, talking about wrestling. We're super excited that next week our guest is going to be A-Double, also known as Austin Aries, who's a TNA superstar. And he'll be coming on next week. And it's really interesting because not only does he wrestle, but he's a huge fan of fantasy football. So it's going to be fun to talk to him about sports. And we'll have his partner, his wrestling partner, Christopher Daniels, on in January. So that'll be really exciting as well. So tune in for that, too. And we have a couple of minutes left. Should we talk about this new show that's coming out?
Yeah, this sports parents show that's going on. They're going to have a reality show about parents who are just a little bit over the top. Feel free to get into that.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
I mean, it's basically these overbearing, Forbes magazine did this article on these overbearing sports parents that are going to be getting their own reality TV show. And I honestly, mean, how much worse can this get? We had Dance Moms, and you saw the overbearing parents in the Dance Moms show. And
the pageant moms, remember those two?
Right, pageant moms, and now we have to turn it to sports. I mean, when I was a kid and I played softball and basketball, and I have 3 older brothers, and they were into all different sports, I mean, you could hear your mom cheering on the sidelines. And I got to tell you, my mom was a coach on one of my teams, so that was pretty cool, too. but it was never negative. They didn't get in the coaches' faces. They just encouraged us to do the best that we could do.
Yeah.
What about your family?
Yeah, everybody who knows me from Larchmont and Mamaroneck and was on the soccer field when I was playing, everybody knew where my mother was sitting because all you hear, go inside, go inside. Oh my God! I would be on the field going, oh my God, that's my mom. But that's so positive. I mean, everybody knew my mother. I just lost her a few years ago, and I think everybody in that school knew who EJ's mother was, just because she'd go to the games and make herself so heard. Now that she's gone, I look back at those things, and thank goodness my mom was my biggest supporter, because I couldn't imagine trying to survive on playing athletics in high school and not having her support. She was huge for me. So go ahead. Let's talk about this reality show and how stupid it's going to be.
It is. I mean, we're talking about setting, like even Ed was just talking, really giving the foundation to our kids to be leaders and to be, very positive role models, and to have the foundation to be positive in their life. And we're rewarding these parents by giving them a reality show that does the complete opposite, that's rewarding them for being get in your face type of parents who get in the coach's face, who get, you'll find the ones that if your kid didn't get in, they're running on the field. And I mean, I think this has gone so far over the top, and I will not be watching it. Yeah. I will not be supporting this. I don't support dance moms either, because that woman just yells at these girls. I've raised 3 kids, and that is just not the way to do it, No. So, I mean, some kids need pushing, but if that's the way you're going to do it, what kind of parents are those kids going to become? Yeah. I just can't imagine.
Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah. Definitely
good luck with that. So we're coming down to our last few seconds of the show, so we're going to thank, Ed for being on the show today, and we're going to thank sportstravelandtours.com for sponsoring our segment, which I hope you guys enjoyed, because we really enjoyed our first show, and we're really looking forward to the next ones coming up. Please don't forget to tune in to us next week to listen to Austin Aries, TNA Superstar, and we'll announce next week we'll announce the winner of Ed's book. And just want to also thank again, EJ mentioned Josh, who does our music, which he's unbelievably talented man. And
don't forget to check out Robert Jackson's fundraiser for Christopher Carzel. I really hope that he gets his arm, and I hope he gets his Xbox, and I hope people support him too. You can find that story over at Fox News and GoFundMe.com. I mean, what a story. That one pulls at my heart. So.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely if you can contribute, give that kid the wish of his dreams.
Yeah.
That would be, just imagine what kind of holiday his family would be having.
Oh.
So we're going to wrap it up. So thanks, guys, and we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Hello, my friend, and welcome to Palooza Radio,
where we cover everything you're looking for
in sports, right here, right now, only on Sports Palooza Radio.